This is the Board of Education business meeting for January 22nd, 2026. Can I get a motion to open the meeting, please? That was Trustee Iacono. Can I get a second, please? Second. Trustee Carlway. All in favor? Aye. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Okay, did everybody hear me? The Board of Education is in receipt of several communications from members of the community asking that Trustee Harrigan be removed as a member of the board due to his individual employment. The qualifications for serving as a member of the Board of Education are established by state law. The authority of the board to remove one of its members is also established by state law. Trustee Harrigan's employment does not disqualify him under New York State law from continuing to serve as a duly elected member of this Board of Education. Harrigan and will not be entertaining his we'd like to open up our public comment on agenda items. We would like to remind speakers that when addressing the board, they must adhere to the school district code of conduct, direct their comments to the board as a whole or the president of the board, refrain from directing comments to individual board members or other district officials unless they ask for and obtain the approval of the board president. Refrain from calling for expressions and sentiment of support from others present. Conduct themselves in a civil and respectful manner. Refrain from obscene language, libelous statements, threats of violence, or statements advocating racial, religious, or other forms of prejudice, and avoid personal attacks. We ask all speakers to adhere to policy 1230. Comments deemed to be derogatory, inflammatory, or out of order will be cut off. Melody, do we have people signed up for the agenda items?
Not on agenda items.
Okay, so with that, I would like to go to our superintendent of schools, Frank Mealy, with his update. Frank.
Good evening. I only have a couple of items. On Tuesday night, I had the privilege and the honor to dedicate our wrestling room to legendary coach Joe Bellucci. I hate to say it was my high school coach a long time ago. I'm not going to tell you how long ago, but it was a long time ago. But the entire Bellucci family, when you want to talk about legendary, that whole family really built the tradition of our great wrestling program that we have, and we just felt that it was past due to honor someone that has been so influential in our community for so long, as well as his entire family. So I can't say enough about that honor. I was very humbled to have done it, and very honored. Next, on February 11th, it's been in the newspaper, a project from Trustee Tanner McCracken as far as our financial seal for our high school students. This year, we hope to have at least, I think, 201 students that on graduation day will get the seal of their financial literacy. We did have a contest, and we did pick a winner. That on February 11th, prior to one of our basketball games, we will make that announcement up on our graphics board. So we'd like to thank Mr. Sean Flanagan for coming up with the plan, and we think we have a great emblem that we're going to put on our diplomas from now until whenever. Forever. I was waiting for Trustee McCracken to say something. He hasn't said much on it in the last month. So, I appreciate him not saying anything now. Thanks. Then the last thing, we do have a STEM program from the middle school, which is on Saturday prior to this major snowstorm, which I have to say I'm 7 for 7 on predicting storms and with the help of a lot of people. So hopefully I can continue that average, but we are going to have a major snowstorm. But on Saturday from 10 to 1 over at the middle school, if you want to see some great things from our middle school students, you're free to come over. It's for free, and like I said, our students do some great things, whether it's the middle school, elementary, or the high school. So that's my message as far as tonight. Thank you.
Very good. Sentiments, Frank, it really was a wonderful night with the honoring of the Lucci family and instilling their legacy into our community. So great job. Thank you. Okay, we have subcommittee reports. I'd like to call on our finance chairman, Mr. Kyle Potter, for his finance report. Kyle?
Okay, the finance committee met January 13th. We went through budget goals and enrollment. Alyssa Murray presented the first PowerPoint presentation outlining the budget development process. The second item on the agenda was a budget analysis. Alyssa took us through actual expenditure from the last 3 fiscal years, current year approved budget, and year-to-date actual financial data. The third item on the agenda was to review the BOCES invoice through December 2025. And then finally, we reviewed the November-December financial reports. And our next meeting will be January 29th.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, Trustee Potter. Great job with the Finance Committee and working with our superintendent and with Alyssa Murray, our business official. So terrific job there. It's a terrific committee as well. Our next subcommittee report is the Special Ed Ad Hoc, which I have the pleasure of giving to you this evening. We met on the ad hoc on the 13th of January, and we went through present were Superintendent Mealy, myself, Vice President Safra, and then we had our community members and sprinkling in board members with Trustee Travis Carway. Really a terrific night and a really spirited ad hoc special ed committee. So we talked about facility spaces and space. Of course we have none, but we talked about it, and we're going to find some space. That was the we give that to figure Adam Rubin and Frank will have to figure that out. But we talked about the need for sensory rooms in every building and sensory pathways in the hallways. We talked about adaptive playgrounds and updated existing spaces that we discussed. We actually talked about that this evening in some of our renderings that you were able to see with some of the propositions that we're looking into, and adding more of those adaptive and inclusive playground features. We're going to address the inadequacies in some of our spaces, try to find new spaces, and looking to, when some schools are lacking, we're hearing about therapy rooms. We're talking about just considering the possibility of maybe repurposing some existing spaces, or also maybe even looking into some mobile classrooms in order to facilitate some more gaining more space. Challenges with small inefficient spaces like the high school sensory rooms. Plan to tour buildings and explore creative space utilization. We talked about staff training and professional development. Emphasis on district-wide training in neurodiversity, IEPs, and behavior management. desire for dynamic, engaging training beyond mandated online videos, proposal to include all staff, including custodians, bus drivers, and monitors in this professional development training, discussion on creating and training handbook and standardizing curriculum, training to cover reading IEPs, understanding neurodivision needs, and de-escalation techniques. Student needs and transition support, couldn't be any more needs that we're looking at right now. We need to provide, and we're doing it, but we need to provide pathways and transition programs from elementary to middle to high school, looking at post-secondary transition support, and getting, because parents have really expressed concerns in that. Vocational and life skills classes are essential, but currently are limited, so we're looking again in order to see if we can create more opportunities for our special needs learners. Importance of consistent guidance counselors and trained in special education needs. Concerns about students falling through the cracks due to lack of appropriate programs, and I can tell you that our superintendent and his team are really working hard to make sure that nobody's falling through the cracks, and I'm very proud of what they've accomplished so far and look forward to what they're going to continue to accomplish. Funding grants, we talked about grant writing, discussion on budget meetings to align funding with student needs, exploration of grants, including Title I and Special Education Foundation grants, consideration of hiring grant writers to support funding applications, acknowledgement of unfunded mandates, and need to lobby for more state and federal support. Grants seen as a creative way to support culture shifts and program development. We have the school calendar and attendance issues, issues with students staying home during midterms and regents. That was Tad. I know our superintendent jumped all over that when it came to us. Half-day schedules for special education students during testing periods can cause regression, so we're working on that as well. State and Medicaid don't reimburse during these areas. I'm not sure if people knew that. I certainly didn't know that they didn't reimburse on those days. And discussion about aligning special education calendar with general education to avoid the service gaps. Action items we broke down into a bunch of teams, which those teams will be announced. We'll get those out. Melody, get those out next week. The teams that we broke, that people can sign up for the different teams.
That's already done.
Oh, it's already done. I knew it. Why do I even ask you now? I don't know why I do it. So we'll be organized staff training. Well, these are the options. The categories we broke down to: explore facility options, research grants, prepare training materials, and distribute meeting notes. Our next meeting is March 24th, 2026, and I offer this report as read. Yes. Sure, please.
So I just wanted to address the Special Education Advocacy Committee, and this is a new committee that our board has put into effect for this year. We did do something a little bit different last year for special education, but this is really making a difference, I think, in giving voices to our parents, to really have a clear line, to be able to talk to board members, to talk to our superintendent, to talk to our director of special ed, and really, you know, I know that I'm hearing things that I never heard before, because you just can't reach everybody. And we have a really wonderful community of parents who are supporting their children, and also looking at other districts and bringing that to us. So I think that's how we get better and stronger, is by listening to each other and learning from other districts and growing. So thank you for bringing this community to our board.
Well said. Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Travis. Okay. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so now we have a donation. I'm going to ask my my competent right-hand Vice President right here, Vice President Soccer, to read out our donation for this evening.
Resolve the Board of Education for the 25-26 school year hereby accepts a donation from Lakeview PTO in the amount of $475 for the first grade Sharp reservation trip held on October 27, 2025 and October 28, 2025. Be it further resolved that $475 were reflected in line A2110 for 5006 40 materials and supplies, LV Lakeview. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice President. Okay, can I get a motion to accept the donation, please? So moved. So moved. That was Trustee McCracken. Second, Trustee Iacono, very quickly. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so now we have our consent agenda. And we did not have anybody commenting on consent agenda items. So what I would ask right now is, can we get a motion to accept this evening's consent agenda? Vice President Mahopac, can I get a second, please? Trustee Iacono, I'll tell you, you're not joking around tonight. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Cheat sheet. This is great. Okay. Okay. So we're going to come to our public comment portion right now. I would like to remind speakers that when addressing the board, they must adhere to the school district code of conduct. Direct their comments to the board as a whole or the president of the board. Refrain from directing comments to individual board members or other district officials unless they ask for and obtain the approval of the board president. Refrain from calling for expressions of sentiment or support from others present. Conduct themselves in a civil and respectful manner. Refrain from obscene language, libelous statements, threats of violence, or statements advocating racial, religious, or other forms of prejudice, and avoiding personal attacks. I'll open it up right now to public comment. Melody, I know we have. We ask all the speakers to adhere to policy 1230. Comments deemed to be derogatory, inflammatory, out of order will be cut off. Okay? Very good. Melody, who do we have up first?
Miguel Hernandez.
Okay. Miguel? Okay, can you get to the next one?
Ixbucani Herrera.
There you go. Hi, could you just state your name and where you're from?
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Yucatán Pereira y vivo en Carmen, Nueva York.
Hold on. Check.
Muchas gracias. Mi nombre es Yucatán Pereira y vivo en Carmel, Nueva York. En esta escuela ustedes educan una gran mayoría de niños que solo vienen de una lengua que es el español. Pero están en una mesa de directiva ayudando a nuestros niños sin acceso al lenguaje. La razón que estoy yo aquí es porque estoy preocupada como madre, como abuela, como persona que paga impuestos para la escuela que le presta educación a nuestros niños. Pero uno de sus miembros de la mesa directiva delante de mí se llevó gente, se llevó padres, se llevó hermanos que están grabados en unos videos y que le trabajan a algunas de las personas que están aquí. Les trabajan a ellos, le dan la vida a ellos, a muchos que están aquí. Solo que estoy preocupada porque el señor Harrigan está en un puesto donde tiene acceso a la información de nuestros niños. Nací en estas tierras. I was born here, raised somewhere else, and I speak more than one language. Including a native indigenous language. And to honor Mahopac, how interesting. You guys are representing our children, our future of this future generation. Isn't it embarrassing to not to have one person to represent one of the children that you guys are educating? But I'm not here to judge your pie of education. I'm here because in front of me, I have Mr. Hurricane took people without a warrant. I recorded him. And those individuals, they work for some of you over here. Right?
Excuse me.
But, yes, I address the board. Sir, who's going to address? I'm looking for Felipe's son who was missing. You took Felipe from us on Sunday. I'm looking for a young man who just arrived to the United States in a refugee. I'm looking for him. We can't find him. I'm here because I am worried about our children, our parents, and especially those parents that work for some of the people that are sitting, happen to be here. Thank you. Please, when you represent the parents, make sure that you have one of the parents in your tables, because then you're not doing a good job. English is from England. Spanish is from Spain. This land where we're standing, this land belongs to some of the Mahopac.
Point of order, Mr. President, 4 minutes have expired.
Yeah, it's I didn't say that, it's a form of policy. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Melody?
Bella Lamette.
Okay. Thank you very much. State your name and where you're from.
Bella Lamette, I'm from Mahopac. Born and bred here. My children went through the Mahopac School District. I'm very familiar with it all. I've heard the argument that Mr. Harrigan was elected, not appointed. Let me share with you others that were elected and not appointed. Richard Milhouse Nixon, George Santos, and Andrew Cuomo. They were all elected. They were not appointed, and they were removed from office. I'm a psychotherapist. I work with children, and I work... Do we have some decorum? Do you know what decorum is?
Please.
No.
Just please.
Let's have decorum.
Let's just speak to the board.
Can you control the audience, please? I was controlled. Can you control them, please? Thank you. I'm a psychotherapist, and I work with children and adolescents and adults. Children are imagining being snatched from their parents. Children watch news. Children hear things. They read newspapers. They talk amongst themselves. They're afraid that they're going to be separated from their parents. They're afraid they're going to be separated from their grandparents and from their friends. We cannot have an individual who is responsible for that fear on our school board. The separation that they fear is on a constant daily basis. The fear of the unknown is a constant daily basis for them. And to know there's an advocate for someone who wants to rip children apart from their family is really scary. We also have to care about our teachers and our board members who might have people that they love or are connected with who are undocumented, or that have a green card, or that have a work permit, or that have citizenship. And all of you can attest to the fact that ICE has taken at least 100 to 200 people that fit into that category. I know 3 personally. So this is not just about taking people that sneak into this country. It's about a very dangerous precedent that's being set. If Mr. Harrigan enjoys his work, that's up to him. But I don't understand how someone can have, be they him or someone else in ICE, can have a lack of empathy. I feel for someone that doesn't have that empathy. I feel for someone that doesn't have the caring for the lives that they destroy. I feel for the lack of compassion. Maybe people who don't care about destroying lives, I feel about how they can have that in their hearts and how they can feel that it is appropriate to interfere with the lives of families that are being ripped apart and to be able to see children that are crying. How do you, as a board, sit there and say this is okay and have a person like that on your board that's supposed to take care of our children, that's supposed to care about our children? I don't understand that at all. So, you're here working hard for our children, and you're harboring someone who thinks it's okay to take our children and separate them from their families. I will never understand that. This is the United States. This is not supposed to happen. This is unprecedented in our country. As a lifelong member of the Mahopac community, I am appalled by this kind of
Mr. President,
behavior,
performance is up.
and it is not being tolerated. But applauded. We must do the right thing. Mr. Harrigan has a choice. He can resign from the board, or he can be removed. I don't think we know how to control your audience.
Please, hold on now, folks. Folks, come on now. Here we go. Melody is next.
Laura Farelli.
Hey,
My name is Laura, and I'm here tonight as a concerned resident of Mahopac and parent of 2 young kids to demand the resignation or forced removal of Chris Harrigan due to his work with ICE. I have been watching with horror over the past decade as friends, family members, and neighbors seem to have lost all humanity. The fact that people I know and interact with on a regular basis could cheer as the government abducts and tear gasses its own citizens and even children is truly, there isn't even a word for how awful that is. The one and only positive in all of this is that now these people are no longer hiding in plain sight because they just can't help but make themselves known. So at least now we know who to avoid and who cannot be trusted around our children and families. It is alarming, however, that one of these people who cannot be trusted with children is on this very board and is responsible for upholding the mission of caring for and educating children. As stated on your website, the Mahopac School District values a safe learning environment. But how can you ensure safety when one of your own is working for an organization that is terrorizing children and families? Any mental health professional, which I am also, by the way, knows that children cannot learn while they are actively enduring trauma. How are parents supposed to feel comfortable sending their children here every day, knowing they might not be there to pick them up at the end of the day, because a board member has access to data that could destroy their lives? Also noted on the website, the school district expects compassion, empathy, critical thinking, creative problem solving, and pride in the school and community from its students. But what kind of example are you setting? You expect this from children, but at the same time have someone on the board who is modeling the exact opposite. Having pride in the community should include the entire community, by the way, which is 30% non-white. And, as it has been very well established, ICE is not only enforcing immigration laws, but racially profiling people in our community and indiscriminately rounding up anyone who looks like an immigrant. Detain first, shoot first, and ask questions later, if at all. Allowing this person to remain on the board and in charge of making decisions that impact innocent children's lives does not send the message that community matters to this district. In the past, I've tried to have conversations with people about how difficult legal immigration is, or what the statistics actually show about crime rates in areas with high immigrant populations, or how all people deserve basic human rights. But I no longer bother because there is no point wasting my time, and it has become clear that some people are just incapable of basic decency. At some point, there has to be a line in the sand, a boundary that is just too egregious to be crossed. Some people, at least one person on the board, are beyond hope. The rest of you have the chance now to take a stand and say enough. This is where we draw the line. We cannot tolerate exposing our children to this. Please make the right choice.
Ben Downing.
Hello, my name is Ben Downey. I live in Putnam County in Garrison, New York. Mr. President and ladies and gentlemen of the board, I wanted to start by thanking you for your service to the public, and I think in that spirit of public service and principle of public service, I wanted to direct you to the policy manual for the Mahopac School District, Section 2000, Board of Governance and Operations, the Board Member Code of Conduct. It starts with, Board of Education members, in striving to improve public education, shall remember the first and greatest concern is the educational welfare of students attending public schools. Continues in Section 6. Use of a board position for unselfish service rather than personal or partisan gain, and avoid being in a conflict of interest position. Unfortunately, we have a member of the board who has, through probably no fault of their own, ended up in an employment that conflicts with some of the key principles stated in the Mahopac system. Own philosophy, goals, and objectives, which is code 010 in the policy manual, which includes saying that we should not discriminate against anyone based on the basis of race, color, national origin, creed, or religion. I think if your job involves taking people based on those principles and removing them from this district, that is by definition a conflict of interest. It may very well not have been the intention of the good people of Mahopac to elect someone who would be in that situation, but just like many conflicts of interest that arise in public life, sometimes situations change, and it's in the interest of the spirit of public service. We have to evaluate whether this situation merits either a resignation or a change in role so that that person who is now in that position of conflict of interest can follow the guidelines that you all have set for your own conduct. I would also direct you to review New York Consolidated Laws, Executive Law, Section 290, which outlines that the role of any New York educational professional in the deployment of the state of New York is to exercise and uphold a code of human rights, which includes equal access to education for anyone, regardless of national origin, creed, or relationship. And I think what we have to recognize is that in his official capacity, unfortunately, Board Member Harrigan can no longer execute that code, and is in a conflict of interest because his day job now instructs him to not follow that code. And that may not have been his intention when he signed up for the board, but unfortunately he's part of a system that is enforcing those rules unconstitutionally, and it's our job as citizens to raise our request to say that that can't stand.
Excuse me. That's enough.
Hi, I'm Marie Frankel. Thank you for the board to let me speak. President Mongan, Superintendent Mealy. I'd like to speak today in support of Trustee Chris Harrigan against the open border activists like the Hudson Valley Patriots for Immigration Reform. Who is funding these organizations? It's well known nationally that the teachers union, who are ultimately supported by the Democratic Party, are behind this appalling effort to organize against immigration officials. Are you being paid to do these protests and antagonize respected members of the community?
Excuse me.
Are you even residents of the community? This is another rogue attack by trying to remove board members who are not put in place by the teachers union to push their Democratic agenda. This is no different than the Democrats who previously addressed the school board to request the trustees who were supported by the Republican Party should resign. Is the MTA behind this effort? Trustee Harrigan was duly elected by the board and the community. He's worked tirelessly to do the best for the Mahopac School District. Your behavior is appalling, placing images of him on a website saying ICE is evil. It's a threat to our board member and his family. These images should be removed. Perhaps we should place your photos on a website showing your support for legal aliens and federal citizens. This way your employers, family, and friends can see you're aligning with illegal immigrants over the communities of legal residents that are forced to support the burden. Illegal aliens fill up emergency rooms, cost extra educational dollars, and take up housing, all in the name of illegal immigrants and open borders. We follow the rule of law in this community. Yes, we're a nation of immigrants, but legal immigrants, who waited their turn and came here and assimilated into American culture. We don't support the protesting of legal immigration authorities from doing their job. Thank you.
Gina O'Rourke.
Hi, Gina, state your name, where you're from?
Yes, my name is Gina O'Rourke. I am from New Milford, Connecticut, although I was a camp counselor at Camp Kiwi when I was in college. So I have a lot of fondness for Normal.
Come on now.
Are we done?
Just address the board, thank you.
Okay. So I have a lot of fondness for Mahopac. I am here to stand with the educators, parents, and children of Mahopac. I can only imagine how these people feel about having a member of their school board, Mr. Christopher Harrington,
Okay.
that belongs to an
Excuse me.
agency.
Excuse me. He's here. We're not, it's no personal attacks, just please.
Okay, that participates in brutal child abuse.
One second, everyone.
That person should have nothing to do with decisions that affect the lives of children.
Everybody. When someone's talking at the microphone, that's who's speaking. The best thing we can do is not get violent here and stand with our beliefs and what we want to say. I hear, 100% an attack. When they make an attack, the president's got to tell them to stop talking, and then we should move on. Yep.
Guys, I need 5. Listen, guys, I'm gonna call for a 5-minute recess. We're gonna call off. Okay? Can I get a motion? 1 second. Can I get a motion to go into a 5-minute recess? Second, all in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, can I get a motion to come back out of recess, please? Second? All in favor? Okay. Now look, I'm just going to reiterate this one more time. And please, try to be open and we want to listen, we want to hear, okay? But again, when you're addressing the board in public comment, you adhere to the school code of conduct and direct the comments to the board as a whole or the board president. Refrain from directing comments to individual board members or other district officials unless they ask for and obtain approval from the board president, okay? That's what we're here, okay? We're not going to do these personal attacks. You have our attention, we are here, okay? You conduct yourselves in civil and respectful manner, okay? I know that we have both sides over here, but I'm asking you to be respectful over here and here. We want people to come up and we want to hear. Refrain from obscene language, libelous statements. I mean, come on. Threats of violence or statements advocating racial, religious, or other forms of prejudice. And avoid the personal attacks, all right? So again, we're not directing comments to individual board members. Okay, Melanie, who do we have up?
Daniela Poja.
Daniela, come on. Daniela, let's take your name and residence.
Hi, good evening. My name is Daniela Poljak. I'm a resident of Mahopac, and I'm proud to say that I appreciate every single one of you sitting up there on this board right now. I came up here because I've seen so much going around in the last few days that I was compelled to come in and speak on behalf of one of our board members and somebody that I call a friend for the past 6 years. I've known Chris for 6 years. We met during the height of COVID, amid the chaos of lockdowns and significant disruption to our children's education. During that time, Chris was a strong and consistent advocate for the well-being of our kids. He helped, okay, one of our board members. He helped make parents' voices heard and encouraged us to speak up for what we knew was right, letting parents be parents, supporting our children's mental health, and most importantly, prioritizing their education by pushing to get kids back into in-person learning when remote learning was clearly failing on so many students. This board member organized groups, listened to every parent who reached out, and worked to turn those concerns into action. I was one of those parents, and it mattered deeply to know that someone was truly listening and advocating on our behalf. He brought together a community that extended beyond Mahopac and helped us realize that we are not alone. Through that work, friendships were formed and a sense of unity and support grew. We, together, joined the first ad hoc advocacy committee here in Mahopac, and together we continued pushing for transparency and accountability. I am proud that this board member is serving on the board and continues to work for our community, our parents, and our children. To hear people call for someone's resignation based solely on his occupation is absurd. I feel safer, and my community should feel safer, knowing he is working to make us and our children, our country safer. No one is questioning the occupations of other city board members, and this should be no different. Thank you.
County Executive Kevin Byrne.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board. I'm not here as the county executive. I'm here as a tax-paying resident of Mahopac or Mahopac. As I am reminded, I'm a lifelong Putnam County resident, but more than any of it, I'm a proud father of a child who's in the Mahopac School District. And I'm here to tell you that, like every level of government, we, the people of Mahopac, elect our representatives. I personally voted for that to limit a government, someone that's going to protect parental rights, someone that's going to protect and stand up for our Constitution and our rights, and keeps the Constitution and appreciation of the rule of law to our students. Free of discrimination for all people, regardless of what may make us different as individuals. The reality is the law is serving all of us equally, free of discrimination. And we proudly support, in this county, we proudly support our men and women in law enforcement, and be damned if someone says they cannot serve our law. This is one of the safest, healthiest, most prosperous counties and towns in America. It's because of the people who call this place home, and it's because people who are elected to serve do their jobs. I want to thank each and every one of you for the jobs that you do and for the crap that you put up with. Thank you.
Yes.
Erin Crowley.
Aaron?
Good evening, members of Mahopac Board of Education, President, Superintendent. I am writing as a community member, mother of 4, and wife of a law enforcement officer, to express my opposition to the call for the resignation of a trustee based solely on his employment as a federal law enforcement officer. Serving on a local school board is a civic responsibility, and individuals do not forfeit that right because of their profession. This trustee was elected to this position by the voters of Mahopac, and there has been no evidence presented that he has violated school district policy, accessed student records improperly, or failed to uphold his duties as a trustee. Assertions that his federal employment automatically creates a threat to students or compromises confidentiality are speculative and unsupported. School board members are bound by strict laws and policies regarding student privacy, and those safeguards exist regardless of a trustee's background or profession. To suggest otherwise undermines both the integrity of the district's governance and professionalism of those who serve it. It is also important to separate political disagreement with federal immigration policy from the responsibilities of a local school board member. School boards exist to oversee education, budgets, and student outcomes, not to adjudicate national policy debates or penalize individuals for lawful employment outside their volunteer public service, and thank you for that.
Yes.
Targeting an elected official because of their profession sets a troubling precedent. Today it's a federal agent, tomorrow it could be a police officer or a corrections officer, or anyone whose job is politically controversial. That's not a standard that serves students, families, or democratic governance. I urge the board to remain focused on its mission, respect the will of the voters, and reject calls for any resignation that are rooted in politics rather than evidence of wrongdoing. Thank you for your time.
Tom Carey.
Tom?
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board. I want to thank all the board members for their volunteer service to our community. And I know I'm going to break one of your rules now, but I do want to specifically thank Trustee Harrigan for his service to our community outside of the board. All right, I volunteer with a lot of organizations within this community as well, and I see the same people at all of them, including some of them here. All right, no one here should have anything held against them doing their volunteer service for our school district because of the job that they do. All right, and this is a job that people have been doing for decades under numerous presidents. It shouldn't be an issue now just because some people have some sort of derangement syndrome because of who the current president is. All right, so thank you. I thank the board for their opening statement. It's probably the best thing I've ever heard this board say in all the years I've lived here. Thank you.
Dawn Dazick.
State your name, residence.
Dawn Gazek from Mahopac. So I'm here tonight as a parent and a community member to speak in support of one of the board members here. My interactions with him have consistently shown him to be dependable, engaged, and deeply committed to our children. I first saw this at my son's Boy Scout meetings, where he regularly showed up to help organize the boys and actively supported their activities. His leadership and care were clear. I later saw that same commitment when he independently organized an impromptu basketball group at Sycamore Park, unpaid and unsolicited, simply to give kids and families a positive, healthy outlet. That speaks volumes about his character. Chris also stood up during COVID to advocate for in-person learning, prioritizing children's education and well-being when many stayed silent. While I do not know him personally, I have no doubt his priorities are with our children. He was elected by this community and earned that trust. There is no evidence of misconduct or misuse of information, and attempts to remove him are rooted in political disagreement, not facts. Disagreeing with someone's professional or personal beliefs is not grounds for removal. This community elected Chris, and that decision deserves respect. Our children need your confidence to show up, speak up, and stand firm, and Chris has done exactly that.
No.
Melissa Reardon.
Melissa, come on.
It's like back at home. I haven't seen you guys forever.
Good evening. I'm Melissa Reardon from Mahopac. I wanted to address the board to say that there wasn't a big turnout, right? We didn't have so many people here when we had another board member once call the Mahopac residents single-minded extremists, or a small intended vulgar game of misguided community members, or these single-minded extremists. Nothing was said. We had emails sent, but people from Connecticut or Eric Ross's wife didn't show up to say anything. Oh, no names, I'm sorry. Yeah, we didn't have members of the community or members that are not from the community show up. Don't see how anything is different here when attacking community members a few months ago. But I want to state that overall, most members here have been doing an extremely good job, especially this past year or two. And one who's under attack right now has done so much and has really the best interest of our students and our community. And the support that comes from our community to him is more than even seen here. So I stand by him. I would not even think, I'm hoping you're not thinking, to even consider any resignation or anything, or, you know, hold anything against this person. Thank you. And I hope to see you when I come back to talk about those sexually explicit books.
Melody?
Kate Bellantoni.
Kate?
Kate Bellantoni, Mahopac resident. I'm here today to speak in support of our trustee, who is being unfairly targeted at the direction of the Democratic chair of the Putnam County for an issue that has absolutely nothing to do with our school district. This trustee has consistently shown his priorities for the entire school body. Just weeks ago, during a health committee call, he advocated for the need for bilingual guidance counselors so that all students can feel safe speaking to someone. To make him out to be anything other than a caring volunteer with our kids' best interests in mind, just because of his job, is ludicrous. When Pfizer rolled out a vaccine that many Mahopac residents disagreed with, we didn't speak of the trustee that worked there. While I understand the situations are different, the principle is the same. A trustee's career outside district duties should not be weaponized against them. People are coming up here saying that this trustee lacks empathy and compassion. They're coming up pretending that they know who he is. Where have you been? You don't know him. In fact, you know nothing about him. The trustee has a job. He has a boss. He pays the same high taxes we all do. He needs to support his family. Therefore, he needs to work. This renewed call for his resignation, again, led by the Democratic chair, is irresponsible, it's dangerous, and frankly, it's absurd. I am proud to stand by this trustee, and I know a majority of Mahopac is too. Separately, I encourage the board to change their policy to only allow residents of the Mahopac Central School District or New Milford to speak in our town is ridiculous. They do not voice our town. They do not voice our opinions, and their opinion should have no bearing on how we conduct business in this state.
Melanie?
Robert Carroll.
President, trustees. I want to start off by thanking each and every one of you guys. I know it's been mentioned several times, but each and every one of you guys dedicate your time away from your families to come here and provide a service for all of our children. I'm here today as a taxpayer, as a parent of a student in the Mahopac Central School District. I'm also here to speak about on behalf of an individual that I know well. That man right there, I know we're not allowed to say his name, but he's a man of integrity. He's a man that I personally helped win his election, and I want to say that I am standing behind him. Chris is a guy who is constantly, The trustee that we are discussing today is a man of integrity who has dedicated himself to serving and protecting our country. He should not be expected to resign for carrying out a lawful executive order. It is not his role as a law enforcement officer to debate or advance policy. It is his duty to follow lawful directives and enforce the law as instructed. Chris puts his life on the line every day to keep our nation safe. And for that, he deserves our full respect and support. Here in Cardinal, we are a community that stands behind our first responders. As you can tell, the individuals who are from Mahopac that gotten up here tonight have spoken out in favor of this trustee. The individuals who don't live in this community have come up and they have bashed this individual, don't know him, or do not understand the fabric of our community. So for that, I stand behind Chris and thank you for everything you do. Thank you.
Good job.
He was the last one that signed up.
thank everybody for coming out this evening, and we look forward to a lot more meetings with our amazing trustee. So with that, can I get a motion to close the meeting, please? Vice President, second, Nicole Iacono, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, everybody. Get home safely. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out.